transformation agenda of our beloved country. This morning's press conference has the theme, $2,000, 2,000 Ghana cedis. The Ashanti Regional Communication Directorate has invited you here this morning to share with you and the public some unfortunate incidents which have occurred on both the media and political landscape in recent times in our region. A popular journalist, let's get here first. The Ashanti region have issues, and these issues that we want to discuss include: one, the NDC's tribal a journalist from the multimedia group. Now on the first subject, as you would recall, over the past few days, some leading figures within the opposition National Democratic Congress have had cause to complain about the tribally discriminative attitude towards supporters perceived to be of the Asahanti descent in the region. A popular journalist with an Accra-based radio station, Mr. Mahama&Ndc, on his Facebook wall, alleged that the NDC are discriminating against Asantis in their ongoing membership registration exercise in several parts of Ashanti region. According to Mr. Mahama&Ndc, persons bearing Ashanti names are being denied the opportunity to register their membership, whilst others are subjected to serious frustrations in their attempts to register for the party's membership card. Similarly, another popular figure and close confidant of the former President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Mr. Frank Kwekuapia, popularly known as Apia Stadium, on Asempa FM, a few weeks ago also had cause to complain that one of the aspirants for the Ashanti Regional Communication Officer position, Mr. Asafwede, is being discriminated against on the basis that he is an Ashanti. We are not surprised at all at all these developments because the NDC, as we all know in their many years of existence, have always adopted to tribalism as a major tool in their political bidding. What rather bothers the minds of well-meaning people of the Ashanti region is how deliberate and wicked the NDC has persistently tagged and treated the Ashanti region as a kingdom and its citizens. You would all recall that in the wake of political campaign ahead of the 2016 elections, then sitting president and now the former president, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, described Ashantis as ingrates who wouldn't even appreciate gold overlaid roofs. This was not just an insult, but the greatest disrespect anyone could ever show to the Sikeja. One would have thought that after the 2020 general elections, the NDC would have appreciated the numbers in the Ashanti region and Asantis for garnering into their basket over 600,000 votes, second highest after the Greater Accra. Their so-called strongholds, thus the Volta and Northern regions, could not match Ashanti in their almost successful political scam that they wanted to bring to the people of Ghana through the 2020 general elections. Yet, they are showing great discrimination and enmity against the descendants of the great Ashanti land. You may wonder why this should be our interest. We are concerned so much because the constitution of this country frowns on discrimination against people based on ethnic, tribal, or political orientation. You also know how the NPP has instituted the Nasara wing in our constitution to give the opportunity for settler groups in all corners of this country to fully and actively participate in party activities. We therefore condemn this barbaric and undemocratic attitude of the NDC in Ashanti region. This faith in the NDC have a good opportunity to come back to the NPP, where they are seen to originate from. The NPP as a political party does not discriminate against anyone based on tribe, ethnic, or religious orientation. The NDC has said times and again that all accounts must belong to the NPP. We have, however, proven them over time how all-embracing we are. Nonetheless, there will be no reason for any of these Asantis going through these inhumane treatments to continue to stay there for no better outcomes. They must fear for their lives and think about their safety. This is a brotherly advice we offer free of charge in these trying times, and we hope they listen and take precaution. Now to the second subject of $2,000, 2,000 Ghana cedis. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, it is instructive to note that the NPP as a political orientation or organization holds the media in high esteem. This is evidenced in the matter and number of reforms, laws and policies which the NPP administration, both past and present, have over the years introduced to support the work of the media in this country. Mention can be made to the repeal of the criminal libel law under former President John Ajay Kufuor, the expansion of the independent media space and granting of licenses for the establishment of private media houses, and most recently, the passage of the Right to Information Act, Act 989, into law by the current NPP administration led by His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. It must be emphasized without any shred of doubt that the NPP as a party considers any attempt to subvert the work of any media personnel or institution reprehensible, and will therefore do everything within our powers as a political entity to protect and safeguard the interests of journalists in this country. We are, however, worried about the recent revelations involving one journalist with the multimedia group in Kumasi, Nana Kwajo, who is alleged to have been paid a hefty sum of $2,000 and 2,000 Ghana cedis by the opposition National Democratic Congress, with the aim of influencing him to insult and denigrate the president, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, and also make his government unpopular. Our deep search into the matter has revealed that this was not just a one-off payment, but a quarterly contract initiated and mediated by Sami Jamfi and Abbas Nuruddin, the National Communication Director and the Ashanti Regional Communication Officer, respectively. It may surprise you that just yesterday, even ahead of this press conference, my counterpart in the NDC, Abbas Nuruddin, having presumed that the media is cheap on sale, last night went round a number of your colleague producers and editors to ask you would put it, kill this story on arrival. That is how low they now value you, the media, and believe that all that we are saying here will not be broadcasted for the good people of this region and country to hear. We just hope that you are going to act according to your conscience and make sure you act and do your work professionally. Indeed, the recent revelation only goes to confirm our long-held opinion that the particular journalist in question, Nana Kwajo, has always been biased against the NPP and the government of the day. The journalist is on record to have admitted that indeed he has taken the money, but termed it as a gift and not a bribe. It is on record that many NPP communicators have had confrontational banters with the journalist over his biased posture in moderating his shows. Notable among them, the first on my right, Mr. Alex Opoku-Mensah, the Regional Director of the National Service Scheme, and also Mr. Raphael Safo-Patrick, the Regional Youth Organizer of our great party. As apostles of Ghana's multi-party democracy, the NPP as a political organization did not see the need to stampede or put any impediment on the way of Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa, because we were of the belief that he was genuinely undertaking his constitutionally assigned duty as a member of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, despite being so unprofessional in his modus operandi. However, the recent revelation gives us a cause for concern. The issue of bribery is a major canker in this country's socio-political discourse, much as it is also in the activities of a journalist in this country. In fact, a financially induced journalist is as dangerous as a mentally deranged man with a weapon, because their actions pose serious stress to individual lives and societal reputations. To lend credence to our suspicion, Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa, a day after his alleged shameful bribe-taking secret became public, sat on radio and warned the NPP to be on guard because, and I quote, he was about to switch to the third and fourth gear, unquote. But for this unfortunate statement by Mr. Dwantwa on the third day, the NPP would have assumed that we had no concern about the raging issues of the NDC. This is in reference, ostensibly, to his heinous agenda against the NPP and government as contracted by the NDC. Yes. As shameful as it seemed, the recorded version of 2nd September 2022's version of the show of Kroimu Nsem has been deleted from their online platforms. Our worry is that why would our good friend Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa shift blame on the NPP when the ruling party had nothing to do with the revelation? Where were the NPP when he agreed to take the alleged $2,000 and the 2,000 Ghana cedis from the NDC to do their bidding? Why should he blame the NPP for his predicament? This can only lead us into one conclusion, that Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa is unrepentant in his sordid attempt to carry out the agenda he has been contracted for. He has avowed to do the bidding of the former president, Mr. John Dramani Mahama. It is also a shame that a whole former president of this country would mingle in bribe payment, an act that has a tendency to destroy the enviable democracy we have toiled for in the last 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, though several interesting commentaries came up after the expose of this shameful act of Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa, the major surprise, however, has been the despicable, repugnant, and unmerited reaction from the management of Multimedia Company. Useless media. Subsequently, Multimedia arranged and caused Apia Stadium to issue a disclaimer in a video footage. Ironically, Nana Kwadwo Dwantwa was seated next to Apia Stadium in the same vehicle in which that recording was done. This, in fact, tarnishes the image of managers of Multimedia in Kumasi. We all have revered their smartness and competence over time. But let me say that we are sorry to have allowed ourselves to be taken for granted all this while. Presumably, it was expected that the management of Multimedia would have taken a meticulous and more diligent approach towards the handling of a case of a sensitive nature, such as payment of bribe to a journalist, by engaging all the relevant stakeholders, including the general public, in whose interest good journalism is practiced, before arriving at such an unmeritorious conclusion. We therefore believe that the management of Multimedia acted in bad faith when they undertook that shoddy investigation and hurriedly cleared their staff without recourse to broader consultations. We refer to the GJA Code of Ethics. In the preamble, paragraph 2, which states that the code, and I quote, the code is meant to ensure that members of the Ghana Journalists Association adhere to the highest ethical standards, professional competence, and good behavior in carrying out their duties, unquote. The guidelines of the GJA Code of Ethics also stipulate in part that a journalist is supposed to recognize the public's right to fair, unbiased, accurate, balanced, and comprehensive information. The guidelines go further to state that a journalist does not accept a bribe or any form of inducement to influence the performance of his or her professional duties, unquote. We therefore demand the multimedia group to suspend Nana Kwadwo Jantua and undertake a more comprehensive investigations into this all-important matter. The Ashanti Regional NPP Communication Directory accordingly withdraws our participation in subsequent episodes of Kroyimu Nsem and Kokrantumi shows, which Nana Kwadwo Jantua is the host, until the demand of his interdictment is met. His emboldened posture, showing readiness to do his worst in the coming days, gives us a cause to worry for the safety of our members. He sounds combative, determined to exchange blows if that becomes necessary in his view. He has gone ahead this morning, the 6th of September 2022, on the same show to describe his critics as foolish. To quote him, and I quote, "Mene enyansafo na edi juma enya jimifo," unquote. To wit, I deal with sensible people, not foolish people. We would better protect ourselves against possible physical confrontation and brutalities from the hands of Nana Kwadwo Jantua. And it is based on that we have taken this decision to accordingly take ourselves off the show. We are not doing anything against the multimedia group. We simply feel unsafe sitting on shows with Nana Kwadwo Jantua, who has promised and avowed to work according to the contract that he has signed with the NDC to make sure that the image of the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the NPP is slammed in gutters. The Ashanti Regional NPP Communication Directorate would also like to notify you that some members of the party have already petitioned the Media Commission and the Ghana Journalists Association to take particular interest in this matter regarding the conduct of the journalist, since it borders on ethical breaches of the notable media profession, whilst we take steps to petition the Office of the Special Prosecutor as far as the criminal aspect of the matter is concerned. In conclusion, we want to state that the Directorate is not against the personality of Nana Kwadwo Jantua and the multimedia group, but as an advocate for democracy and good governance, we believe he, Nana Kwadwo Jantua, should have exhibited strong professionalism to reflect his claims as an astute professional advocate of good governance and anti-corruption. He who calls for equity, at least, must always come with clean hands. Nana Kwadwo Jantua should have known better and should have shown remorse after he was caught pants down in his bribe-taking venture. His arrogant posture after the revelation of the alleged payment should be condemned by all democratic and good governance advocates, especially you members of the media. It is our expectation that society will name and shame him for such an irresponsible conduct that has dragged the reputation of the media into the gutters. We thank you very much for your